Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever Warframe Wednesday. I'm your host of the most, as always, Francois878, and today's going to be exciting. Today is the first time I've been kind of wanting to do just like just sit down and talk Warframe. Nothing, no build guides, no stress, just a nice. Okay, maybe a little bit of stress. The topic I've picked for today stresses me out a little bit. But this isn't going to be a weapon guide. This isn't going to be a guide to a level or anything. This is just going to be me talking about a Warframe-related topic that I think is worthy to have a conversation on. And that topic is going to be the debate of whether damage mods need to be in a game, or need to be in this game. Specifically, I'm talking about Serration and Hornet Strike. And for those of you who may be a little bit confused, Digital Extremes, on more than one occasion now on their bi-weekly dev stream, have talked about the potential, nothing's been set in stone yet, of removing gun modifications like Serration and Point Blank and Hornet Strike, which are basically just pure damage mods. They do nothing but just increase the damage of your gun. And the reasoning is that they think that it's too necessary. You can't not have a gun, with that specific item on it. And I'd like to kind of present my feelings on the whole subject. What you're seeing, the gameplay you're seeing, is, I believe, a new Loka Syndicate mission? Flawless, top-level mobile defense. It was a pretty hard one. I played Banshee, which helped us out a lot, being able to stun lock the entire room against the infested. But it was only me and one other guy, and I was a little rusty. I'll admit that. I had the Paris Prime out, and I probably missed more shots than I hit. And that's because I've just been a little bit rusty on Warframe lately, and I apologize. I also kept hitting Q instead of 1. I'm not sure why. I'm trying to think what game I was hitting Q a lot on. I think Saints Row actually has something on Q. And that kind of I was used to hitting Q instead of 1. And that's why I constantly started trying to bring up the emote menu. But anyways, moving on. The topic for today's discussion is whether or not damage mods are good for the game. And my short answer is no, they're not good for the game. But trying to take them out of the game would make the game even worse. And the long answer is there's no way to fix, there's no good way to fix the problem. There is a problem. Serration and Hornet Strike are absolutely necessary mods. 100%. If you have a pistol, if you have a shotgun, if you have a bow, a sniper rifle, whatever, you need to have Serration, Hornet Strike, Point Blank on those guns to make them, to be able to play high-level stuff, period. There's no discussion on that. Unfortunately, the developers think that that's a bad thing, that forces people to build a specific way. Well, yeah. Every game, every RPG, every FPS has some kind of damage mod, and usually that's what people want. Damage is the most important thing in pretty much any video game where, attacking is a thing. Puzzle games, obviously not. But that's a different thing. Taking Serration and Point Blank out of the game would make it incredibly, would spike the difficulty in a bad way. It would just make you wouldn't be able to kill anything. People who are able to go 2.5, 3 hours in, you know, the 4, you know, survivals and the tier 4 defenses, you know, wouldn't be able to do that anymore because the guns, that's taking Serration and Hornet Strike out of the game and not putting something else back in just nerfs every single gun in the game, basically. You might as well just leave Serration and Hornet Strike in and nerf every gun in the game. But that brings me to one of their proposed solutions, and that is putting in damage mods that activate based on certain circumstances, such as you'll get an X% damage increase when you hit a status effect, or when you hit a headshot, or when you do X, Y, or Z. And that this solution is awful, terrible, twofold, because then, yes, it provides the player of a more choice, like a different choice in which damage mods they specifically want to take, but each weapon, those weapons are still going to have those damage mods equipped, period. There's not going to be, there will still be a set way to build the weapon that will include one of the new damage mods. Taking Serration out and replacing it with a new situational mod is just you're not fixing the problem. You still have the problem of there's a specific way to build the gun, period, no matter what. You're just taking Serration out and putting something different in. B, you're hurting the weapons because now it's not as much of a nerf as if you were just to take Serration out of the game, but because these weapons, you're basically making these weapons situational. And what I mean by that is that the weapons are only good in certain situations. If this weapon, hits a lot of status effects, then it's good. When you're in the level and it's hitting lots of status effects, it's good in that situation. Not in every situation, but in those situations. And, if they were going to put in something like headshot damage, what if you're not very good at hitting headshots? Some of those infested enemies move around so quick that it's really fucking hard to get a headshot. And if you don't get a headshot, that's 100, 150, 200% damage that you're just not getting because you can't get the damn mod to trigger. And that, it's just, it will cripple, it will nerf every gun without actually looking like a nerf. It would be, it's an incredible idea, because people think, oh, we're getting all these choices now, and we're not losing any damage, because, let's say these these mods are still 165% or 200%. But really, it's not. It's a huge nerf. It's absolutely the worst possible idea they could have. The other proposed idea is, the other solution I've seen people propose is that now that DE is releasing these primed mods, that people can say, oh, let's just take Serration out and equip these primed mods instead. These primed mods, the damage increase between the normal version and the primed version will it'll compensate for the loss of Serration. It'll be fine. Guys, it takes millions of credits and hundreds of rare fusion cores to get a legendary mod to level 10. I for one don't have 520 some odd fusion cores just sitting around burning a hole in my pocket. And maybe I'm the only one. Maybe everybody in the world has just oodles and oodles of fusion cores to put into their guns. I don't. And I don't think anyone else does. And if you don't, who wants to sit around and farm for dozens and dozens of hours in Tier 4 survival in order to get enough fusion cores to do just one? You know, I did a quick estimation of how many cores. It would take you 15 to 25 hours, ballpark best guess, depending on how many, you know, I did averages, you know, a high average and a low average. It would take you 15 to 20 hours of doing nothing but tier 4 survival matches in order to get enough cores, not including credits, not including the credit cost, just the cores, in order to finish just one of these legendary items, these legendary mods. You know, and it would take, you know, I would say in the ballpark of at least 2, possibly 3 legendary elemental damage mods to balance out the loss of a Serration or a Hornet Strike. And I'm getting that information based on the primed heated charge, which came out, I believe, this last week for the pistols. The base heated charge is 90%. The primed heated charge is 165%, so there's an extra 75%. So 75, you know, let's say, you know, 2 mods, 75 plus 75 is 150. So you'd have 150% more damage. You'd still need 15% more damage on a 3rd mod in order to fully compensate for the damage loss. Not to mention the, you know, 30 to 50 hours and millions of credits it would take you to do this. And I don't know if anyone has maybe if I just got into Warframe and I was just starting to play and you know, start enjoying this content, yeah, then maybe it would be different. But I've already put 800 hours into this game. I can't commit any more time. I can't commit that much time to this game anymore. I can't. And not because I don't want to, but because there's nothing really to do except the mindless grinding, which is the least appealing part of MMOs for most people. I'm sure there are some people who get off on the grinding, but I feel like that's one of the biggest complaints for all MMOs, is that the grind is too much. And this it's a great example in this game. The legendary cores are great. The legendary mods are a great example of the endless grind that you will have to do. And who knows, they might not even prime all of the elemental damage mods, you know, for your primaries or for your secondaries or what have you, to even get, you know, enough damage to compensate for Serration, to bring it back to the main point. You know, there's just Serration. There is no good way to fix the problem. The only thing you would do by trying to fix the problem is to make the problem even worse. You know, the problem is that Serration is the bottom Jenga piece on this huge Jenga tower. Everything in that game relies on Serration or Hornet Strike or Point Blank in one way or the other. You know, enemy damage, enemy health, weapon damage, the whole 9 yards. Everything that is enjoyable about this game relies on your weapons being able to kill enemies. And if you pull that Jenga piece out and try to shove something in really quick to try and fix it, the entire fucking Jenga tower is going to come down on your head. That's what's going to happen. And it'd be a damn shame to see Digital Extreme try and pull some dumb shenanigans to try and fix, quote-unquote, this problem with even with a not a half-baked solution, with like a well-thought-out, methodical solution. I don't know how they're going to do it. If they can do it and not ruin the game, basically, bravo. I will tip my hat, I will eat crow, and that'll be that. But I just don't see a easy or really decent solution to this problem right now. And maybe I'm just not seeing it. I don't know. But right now, you know, the best solution that they have is to just leave the problem alone and just and figure something else out. One solution, I guess, would be to add situational damage mods that were better than Serration in addition to Serration. So you had the choice. You could be like, oh, well, I could just take, 165. You could even nerf Serration a little bit. Let's say 150% damage instead of 165. You could take 150% damage, or let's say like 180% damage when I'm hitting status effects, or when I'm hitting headshots. That way, people have a little bit more, they have more choice. If they're not good at taking headshots, if they have a gun that has shitty status chance, they can still, have Serration, but not, feel pressured into a specific situation. Like having to get lots of headshots, or having to, put it on a weapon with high status chance. That would probably be the best way to do it. But we'll see what Digital Extremes goes and does in the future. It's a situation that I'm sure will be resolved by the end of the year, and it is only January, so they have plenty of time to figure out what the hell they're gonna do. So I may eat crow, I may not, but that'll be that. That's my opinion. Those are my feelings on Warframe for my first Warframe Wednesday on the Great Serration Debate is what I'm going to call it. For next week's Warframe Wednesday, please leave a comment down in the comment section about a Warframe related topic that you'd like to hear me ramble about for 15 minutes apparently. I would love to get some feedback on the series as well, because I do love Warframe. Despite the little bit of trash talking I've done in this video, it is a really fun game, and I just I'd like to see it continue to do well. So please leave a comment down below and tell me what you want me to talk about next week. Please like, comment, and subscribe on the video. I appreciate it. It helps me and it helps the channel. But we will see you next week for another Warframe Wednesday.